And we're back with more cricket discussions here on the SportsMax zone. The West Indies Players Association WIPA has been called out over its low public profile in recent months. In an article published by Guyana's Stabreok News, writer Tony McWatt highlighted that the Players Union's mentorship program has yet to begin. Earlier this year, WIPA announced the initiative saying, WIPA strongly believes that the rich knowledge and wealth of experience that endures in West Indies cricket is crucial to the development of our present and future cricketers. The mentorship initiative will connect former West Indies cricketers with current West Indies cricketers with the aim to assist in empowering players to unlock their full potential on and off the field, a process that will be open to all West Indies players. Along with highlighting stalled initiatives, McWatt also claims that WIPA's membership has fallen significantly since the India tour abandonment in 2014. But WIPA Secretary Wayne Lewis has taken issue with the tone of the article. Lewis says the WIPA President and CEO, Wavell Hines, has made a conscious effort to fight his battles in the negotiating room rather than in the public domain. He joins us today. Welcome, Wayne.
Hi, Maria. Very good evening. Good afternoon, and of course, good afternoon to all your viewers, Lance, and of course, my big-time brethren, George.
Yeah, your good big-time brethren, George. All right, so we're going to get to the business, the matter at hand right now. This article entitled Wither WIPA. I think it's fitting to start with the title of the article, Is WIPA Really on the Decline?
That's so far from the truth. I mean, we have made tremendous progress over the years, even with this new, I won't call them new, administration, Mr. Skerritt and Dr. Shallow. We have done some good work during that period as well. And of course, our membership is in excess of 400. Yes, we had some members resigning after what happened in 2014 when the team withdrew from the Tour of India in that ODI series. And a number of those players who were involved in that situation, they have not returned to WIPA. Outside of that, we have built the capacity. We have all the ladies, 100% membership for the ladies. And of course, we have 6 franchises, and at least 90-95% of all franchises, those players are members of the West Indies Players Association.
Yeah, and Wayne, another issue that, the author of the article had is the fact that the approach by WIPA to conduct business, of course, behind closed doors, saying that, this raises eyebrows. Is it that WIPA doesn't want to be accountable to anyone?
Well, that is so unfortunate that someone would think like that we're not seeking accountability. What happened is that, remember, up to 2014, the situation was so tense between Cricket West Indies and the Players Union. Awful. I'm telling you, so many things happened. There were so many litigation matters. I mean, West Indies, Dave Caron came out and said, because of the new direction in which people took the association, we were saving Cricket West Indies in excess of $2 million a year in lawyer fees. And those monies have been pumped back into the development of cricket in the region. So we have decided, the way I got to be secretary of the West Indies Players Association is a perfect example. Andrew Richardson was the secretary of WIPA at the time, and he had aspirations of playing for West Indies. And he thought that being the secretary was holding him back. And they kept referring to him as the WIPA man, and he thought that the secretary wasn't helping him, and therefore he resigned. That is why he became secretary of WIPA. Most of the players really did not want to be even recognized or as WIPA members because of the intimidatory factor. It is felt that once you're recognized as a WIPA member, you're going to have challenges in getting into the West Indies team. That was an untenable situation. So we've decided in 2014, when Wavell took over at our first board meeting, that we no longer want to continue in that approach. And therefore, we've decided then, as a board, that we're going to start doing things behind the scene. We're going to engage Cricket West Indies more, but we don't need to exercise our right to have our disagreements in the public domain. It just wasn't until a situation that was sustainable. And ever since we have done that, the members know they no longer feel intimidated. We have had collaborative efforts in working out workshops with Cricket West Indies and WIPA. We have done that on a number of occasions, and therefore the players are quite satisfied and comfortable being members of WIPA.
Yeah, you know what? When I recognize that you are disturbed by the tone of the Stabreok News article, and it did mention you being quoted as, having WIPA having a much more amicable relationship with the current administration of West Indies cricket, which, as you had mentioned, it wasn't always like that. Is that the most offensive part of the article as far as you're concerned? What tone of this article is so offensive?
Thanks very much for asking that question, Lance. The first thing, the perception has always been, once we decided that we're no longer going to go into the public for everything, is that we were being accused that we were in bed with Cricket West Indies, and Dave Cameron is a Jamaican, Wavell is a Jamaican, Wayne Lewis is a Jamaican. Michael Hall, who was the CEO at the time, he was also Jamaican, and therefore we have decided that, we're going to come together, we're going to ease the pressure off Dave, and therefore we will not be looking out for the best interests of our players. And therefore, that, when McWatt wrote that Wavell Lines, along with the West Indies Players Association, had an agreement with Dave Cameron that we would no longer have our differences in the public domain. It's almost like we were working together in basically not the best interest of our players, rather than building a relationship because we're all Jamaicans. And I thought that was most disingenuous. I was very disturbed about that. I've had discussions with Mr. McWatt. He has apologized to me personally, and he has also sent me a letter of apology that I've shared with the directors of WIPA, because the directors are quite disturbed and concerned about the tone of the letter as well. And therefore, he's promised that he's going to publish another article coming this Sunday that he'll retract publicly and apologize for the misrepresentation.
Okay, so he used that word misrepresentation. What exactly will he what exactly did he apologize to you about?
The fact that he wrote that Wavell, along with WIPA, agreed with Dave Cameron that we'd no longer have our differences fleshed out in the public. That almost like we're working behind the scene to build capacity between ourselves.
And that is not what happened, you're saying?
Absolutely not. I'm on record many times that in 2014, we've decided that we'd no longer have this back and forth to Cricket West Indies in the public's domain. We'll deal with that behind the scene. Also, as it relates to the mentoring program, I've had a discussion with Mr. Reds Pereira as well, and he was featured in that article. He never interviewed me, and therefore I said to Reds, along with Mr. McWatt, that the fact that WIPA weren't talking about this whole mentoring program and what was happening in the public's domain did not mean that nothing was happening. The fact that they weren't hearing anything, and for them to go that, and I actually referred him to Wavell Lines and the Secretariat to talk about the day-to-day administration in terms of the operations surrounding the mentoring program, because I am just part of the decision-making. I'm not part of the day-to-day running of WIPA. So therefore, the Secretariat will have more information. Rather than them going to Wavell Lines and the Secretariat to get the level necessary information, they decided to do their own poll, as they would say. And therefore, they are reporting based on their poll what they've seen, as if to say nothing is happening, and that is so far from the truth. Yeah,
well, two things, Wayne. One, which is something I've asked you many times while you were on the zone. How disturbed are you that the elite players of West Indies cricket have no interest in WIPA? And the follow-up is, talk to us about the work that WIPA is doing at the moment that you appear to be speaking so proudly of, that apparently a lot of people in the Caribbean aren't seeing.
Well, Lance, let's face that 2014 situation. Those guys who pulled out of the tour, they believed that what they did was the right thing to do, and therefore they pulled out of WIPA for that very reason. And for whatever reason, they have not returned. And therefore, we've had some discussions, preliminary discussions, light talks about exactly what happened, but nothing concrete has happened since that. We've had situations where members players who have no longer want to be a part of WIPA, they'll approach other players or other members of WIPA for them to carry certain situations that they might want to be addressed, rather than coming a part of the movement, and so we can get their take, so we can address whatever concerns they might have. For whatever reason, they have decided that they don't want to go that route, but they have seen the type of work that we have been doing, and they have benefited tremendously from some of the agreements through our MOU that we have signed with Cricket West Indies. So they are a beneficiary of a lot of the good things that has been happening between WIPA and Cricket West Indies.
Can you expand on that a bit, though? Because I think the Stabreok News report, which a lot of people would have read, would leave them feeling that WIPA isn't really doing anything. So this is your platform to refute that.
Okay, the first thing, we have had players who pulled out of that tour of India, who are no longer enjoying a central contract through Cricket West Indies, who are now have contracts, franchise contracts. right? And that is what we try to do. That's a mandate that was given to us in Trinidad at that board meeting, at that AGM. That was my first AGM. And therefore, they are benefiting from that very decision that was made where we have the franchise cricket now, where guys, 120 players now are fully under contract with Cricket West Indies. The insurance situation, which to me is the most significant, one of the most significant situations in terms of all the players who are contracted have 24-hour life insurance and health insurance now, and that is a major thing between Cricket West Indies and WIPA. As a matter of fact, the first year that contract was signed, that was signed with a company called Vumi. The premium for that year, just to ensure that all the players, contracted players, had life insurance was in excess of $253,000 United States dollars to ensure that these players are fully insured for 24 hours a day. Also, in terms of their match fees has been increased. The various categories of contracts that can be offered has been increased. So they are earning more monies in terms of match fees for ODI, T20, and also for the test.
But Wayne, we have less than 90 seconds, my producer said, and I regret that because, we need to talk some more about a lot of things. But here's the thing, though. If young players coming into the West Indies fold see the big ticket players, the big men in the team, not a part of WIPA and thriving, and based on the collective bargaining structure, whatever WIPA negotiates for its members, it's not as if those benefits are not to be enjoyed by other non-WIPA members, which is the beauty of the collective bargaining agreement. What then is the incentive for anyone coming in to want to be a WIPA member when there is hard, concrete proof that you don't have to be a member of the association to thrive, and then you have that freedom of not being bound by the dictates or the diktat of the association?
We have used examples thanks for that question, to demonstrate the importance of being a part of a movement. I've also used the example that, guys, you have a life insurance policy, right? You have an insurance to drive on the road. You insure your car or you insure your property. The reason why you insure your car or your property where you live is to ensure that in any eventuality, you will be fully protected. Now, we have had situations in terms of disciplinary matters where players have been cited for indiscipline, and we have had our representation, and we have had situations where their punishment without our intervention would have been extremely high. We have managed to take it to minimum level just because of our representation. So therefore, we have used examples to show them that it's important. Now, if they don't want to join the movement, there's nothing we can do. However, I'll hasten to say that the Cricket West Indies is not only about the guys who represent, the 15 guys who represent West Indies, for example, during this World Cup situation in the T20. We have 6 franchises, 90 guys playing in 6 franchises along with all the women. And all of them are represented quite well.
But we're out of time. Let me just answer me yes or no on this. The fact that I've said that there are the players outside WIPA are thriving, and you are a man who was in the financial advising business and insurance and all that. You know very well that a player with money attracts a financial advisor who will tell them, well, put some here, put some there, and so forth. So they don't need a WIPA to tell them that. What I'm saying, if players can thrive outside of WIPA, and they've seen so many examples of players thriving out of WIPA, and they may not want to join the movement, as you've put it, doesn't WIPA, you think, face an existential crisis, or will face one in short order, if players continue to not want to be a part of the association?
George, you're giving the impression as if you said the numbers are high. Numbers are not high. And
what are the numbers? You want to go in the numbers? You don't want to go in the numbers, do you?
We'd have to check with it.
There you go. There you go. So, yeah.
But what I can tell you is that you said all those players coming into the program now playing for the West Indies?
Yes.
A lot of those guys are.
What percentage are coming into WIPA, you'd say? What percentage of the newer players are coming in?
In terms of the new guys, in terms of the new players coming, it's in excess of 90%. Most of them are members.
90% and over are signing up to WIPA.
Of the new players coming in.
So there's no existential crisis now, and there isn't one on the horizon?
Absolutely not, because if you don't have the franchise, I mean, cricket cannot be strong without the franchise. And the members, they see the importance of being a part of the movement. They are very much a part of the franchise. I mean, they are in terms of being a member of WIPA, and WIPA is very strong there.
The time ran out, Wayne. You got away today. I'll have this chance again. You got away today, and you know it. You see you laughing. You got away.
No, I'm ready, George. I'm ready to answer your questions.
All the best today, my friend. We'll meet again. We'll meet soon. Thank you.
Yes, man.
All right.